Hi, good afternoon, Dr. Imran. Thank you so much for coming today to do this interview. We would definitely love to know what you do, where you're coming from, how did you get started, and all these wonderful questions. So let's start with the basics. Tell me where you're from and what you do and how you got started.
Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Here is Dr. Imran. Me from in Pakistan. So I start with my homeopathic journey in Pakistan. So I start my practice uh, in 2010, and until now I run my clinic and private practice, and also I arrange free medical camps, and I also work online with all over the world with my clients.
That's amazing. That's amazing that you get to not just work in Pakistan, but all over the world. You can reach so many more people through the technology that we have now, to these Zoom platforms. That's wonderful. Um, Tell me, how did you get started? What made you want to go into homeopathy?
I start homeopathy actually in 2002.
Okay, amazing. You always had an affinity for homeopathy?
Say again?
You always had a love for homeopathy from when you were younger?
Yes, yes. Actually, uh, in 1996, I start with teeth pain at night, and one of my family members give me a sweet pills for pain. And you cannot imagine these two pills when I take these pills, and within 2 minutes my pain is gone. So that time I decide to read about homeopathy. So I start read, and I love with homeopathy and cure so many patients with homeopathy.
That's wonderful. I mean, it's such an easy example of how wonderful it can work, especially in those acute situations. And
Yes.
we all know that teeth pain is pretty intense. So that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Um, okay, tell us a little bit about what is homeopathy and its historical context.
So homeopathic is a system of medicine which involves treating the individual with highly diluted substance given mainly in tablet form with the aim of triggering the body and natural system of healing based on their specific symptoms. A homeopath will match the most appropriate medicine to each patient.
Wonderful. And what is the history behind homeopathy? How did that get started?
Homeopathy claim that Hippocrates may have original homeopathy around 400 BC when he suggests a small dose of mandrake root to treat mania, known as produce mania in much larger. doses in the 16th century. The pioneer of uh, pharmacology declared that small doses of what makes a man ill also cures him.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. That's amazing. What are the physical, mental, as well as the emotional aspects of homeopathy?
Homeopathy is based on the philosophy that the body, mind, and emotion are not really separate and distant, built are actually fully based on the perspective a homeopath seeks a remedy that fit all of a patient and physical and psychological symptoms, although some people symptoms may be complex, a well-trained homeopath will knows which symptoms should be specially noted and can choose an effective individualized remedy.
Right. So taking in all that information and making sure that it's individualized is going to hit all
Yes.
those areas. Yeah, wonderful. Okay, so tell us a little bit about how homeopathy can really help with first aid, acute situations.
Homeopathy can be used in first aid to safely treat common elements and occurrences such as sprains and brushes, minor burns, skin irritation, and reaction, including poison, IV disappear, rash, and insect bites, teething pain. It is teething pain.
Okay, amazing. Um, could you give us an example of the first aid, what's pretty common and how you would address that?
And acute health problems are those in which the symptoms will eventually go away on their own. They are temporary conditions such as colds, flu, cough, sprains. A homeopathic remedy can be useful and attractive because it's safe, gentle, has no harmful side effect. Homeopathy can be used to assist sensitive conditions such as pregnancy.
Amazing, amazing. I love that. And explain to us, I think the bigger question, a lot of people wanting to know more about homeopathy is constitutional homeopathy. What does that mean?
Constitutional homeopathy refers to the treatment of a person as a whole, including past and present symptoms. A homeopathic constitutional care can elicit a performed healing response. Homeopathy can be extremely effective in treating chronic and long term health problems. Recurrent ear infection, for example, can be treated with a homeopathic remedy for a long period of time to strengthen the body's immune system and to prevent future occurrence.
Okay, wonderful. Um,
Thank you.
if that this is a good question. If someone has random symptoms, but they're always not feeling well, you find the root through the constitutional homeopathy, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And could you please explain what are the levels, actually the three levels of homeopathy therapy?
Yes. Okay. So first level is first aid. Homeopathy can be used in first aid to safely treat common ailments such as sprains and brushes, minor burns, skin irritation, and reactions including poison, diaper rash, and insect bites, teething pain, and level 2 acute homeopathy. Acute health problems are those in which the symptoms will eventually go away on their own. They are temporary conditions such as colds, flu, coughs, sprains. A homeopathy remedy can be useful and attractive because it is safe, gentle, has no harmful side effect. Homeopathy can also be used to assist sensitive conditions such as pregnancy. So, level 3 is a constitutional homeopathy. A constitutional homeopathy refer to treatment of a person as a whole, including past and present symptoms. Homeopathy constitutional care can elicit a performed healing response. Homeopathy can be extremely effective in treating chronic and long term health problems. Ear infection, for example, can be treated with a homeopathy remedy for a longer period of time, strengthen the body's immune system, and no prevent future.
That is simply amazing.
Yeah.
Um, Tell us, what is the relationship between symptoms and homeopathy?
Symptoms are the language of a disease. The body's attempt to balance itself without symptoms, and person could have potentially life-threatening illness with no way of identifying it. There have been many cancer patients who reported that they had not suffered from a cold or flu in years prior in their diagnosis. The explanation was probably not that they did not have infection during this period, but more likely that their bodies were unable to fight these infections by producing necessary symptoms, indications. Many conventional drugs try to inhibit and suppress symptoms, sometimes leading to even more serious symptoms. Allopathic physicians do not use recognize the new series of symptoms as being related to the cold. They treat them as new and unrelated problems. Do you know that a fever is the body attempt to active the immune system and white blood cells and defend itself from infections? If person is giving us symptoms, suppressing medication, fighting the fever, too soon they will be less able to fight the acute infection. Homeopathy does not seek remove or suppress symptoms. Its goal is to recognize and remove the underlying cause of these symptoms. This is why a homeopath will work toward understanding the whole person, including the body, mind, and emotion state before prescribing a remedy.
I love what you said in the beginning that the symptoms are the body's language. That is such a descriptive phrase, and I think I'm going to take that. That's wonderful. I really enjoyed hearing that explanation. Tell me, can such small doses of homeopathy be so effective?
Okay. So homeopathic remedies are in needed very small doses. However, they are specially prepared doses which undergo a specific process, including dilution of ingredients called potentization, as well as vigorous shaking successions. Specially formulated homeopathic remedies are thought to resolve, resonate with the body, triggering a positive healing response. The response gently and effectively heals from the inside out. The document results from thousands of experienced homeopaths and from millions of their patients clearly show that these small doses produce profound health benefits.
Right. So that's just simply mind-blowing, really, how this actually works, but it's so incredibly effective. So I just love it. Tell me how the correct remedy can be found. There is such a diverse amount of remedies out there. How do you find the right one?
Okay, so finding the homeopathic remedy depends upon gaining a complete understanding of the patient as a whole person. This means that the homeopath can take note of the physical, mental, and emotional level of each person before deciding on a correct remedy. Homeopathic remedy have been described as a designer medicines. While this might seem like a trendy view of homeopathy, it is true that remedies are specially designed for individual based upon their unique and sometimes complex state of being. Take, for example, migraine, headache. We could easily demonstrate that one person might have pain on one side of their head, while another person had pain on both sides. Still, another person could have nausea accompanying the migraine, and yet another could have dizziness. It is important to recognize that in condition to the person's physical symptoms, there are underlying psychological and emotional aspects, as well as homeopathic remedies are only given when the total condition of physical and psychological symptoms has been identified.
Amazing, simply wonderful. Okay, so tell me, what is homeopathy's approach? What is the approach?
Okay, so homeopathy is based on a whole person approach. In homeopathy, the remedy or treatment program is customized and individualized to the patient with the intent of removing the underlying cause.
So explain to us the homeopath's role. Are you the detective? Is it sort of like playing detective when you're looking into your patient's history?
Say again, please.
Explain you as a homeopath, the role that you have. Are you sort of like a detective when you're taking in your patient's history and notes? Your role as a
Yes.
detective. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So it has been said that the work of the homeopath is to observe the patient, process, and reflect on the gathered information and then determine the underlying disturbance. This process can be thought of as a mystery. The homeopathic detective attempts to discover where the flow of energy in the body has been blocked or impeded. Each signal symptoms offended by the patient can be thought of as a clue to determine the correct remedy. The patient's eyes content, body posture, breathing patterns, voice quality, and expressions are also noted as potential clues. Next, the data must be as it might be in a mystery novel or movie when all of the information about the patient's physical, mental, and emotional symptoms have been documented, then the final search for the answers begins. Unlike a detective or medical physician for the matter, the homeopath's goal is not only to remove the symptoms but also to eliminate the essential causal problems by stimulating the body natural curative powers. This is the reasons for obtaining such as details analysis of the patients.
Wow. So that's like taking a puzzle and putting the little pieces together, little clues here and there, the color, the shape of the puzzle, does it fit? That's simply
Yes.
simply just it's very fun, I'm sure, to piece it all together when you hit it on the right, head with the nail. So, um, explain what is homeopathic treatment.
Okay. The goal of the homeopathic treatment is to encourage the body to return to a natural state of balance and health, like the missing pieces of a puzzle. Homeopathy medicines help fill in the gaps in the body to stimulate a person's own healing potential and energies. When this occurs, the person will have access to the body's natural strength and wisdom so that more conventional medicines and chemical based substance may not be needed.
Gotcha. Okay, so I think many listeners may have the question, is homeopathy a proved science? Is this something that has been documented? Are there any studies on it?
It definitely is. Homeopathy is a science based on sound logic and vast experimental data. Homeopathy is only medical science where data has been collected by proving on human beings and not on animals, because human beings can communicate their actual feelings during the testing while animals cannot. The principles of homeopathy has been derived and authenticated by vast clinical experiments and data. The homeopathy medicines are prepared in a standardized manners. The homeopathy pharmacopoeia lists more than 3,000 remedies whose clinical efficacy has been proved in various clinical trials conduct all over the world.
3,000 remedies. That is definitely a wonderful selection of remedies to go through and
Yes,
consider.
yeah, so many remedies, a large selection
Amazing.
of remedies. We have a
Okay, so how are homeopaths qualified doctors? That's a great question.
yes, there are more than 180 homeopath medical colleges in Pakistan and about 1,000 colleges all over the world recognized by their respective governments. The degree courses is an extensive study, the detail and thorough study of the human body, homeopathic pharmacy, medicines, gynecology, materia medica, philosophy, total patient management, etc. In Pakistan, the full course lasts for 4 year and half year, followed by internship for 1 year, which include pra- practical training in hospitals. There are no also postgraduate courses available in Pakistan. One must register with the Medical Council of Homeopathy in Pakistan and
Uh,
also in India.
wow. So it sounds like if you have to do internship in the hospitals in Pakistan, the average person in Pakistan knows what homeopathy is, or at least a little bit familiar with it.
Yes.
That's wonderful. I love that. We need to bring that practice over to America.
Yes, here is actually because we are living here and here is most of the people is poor. So when I start my practice, I was arranged so many free medical camps. So in our free medical camp, more than 300, 400 patient every day we are checked. We are
Wow.
attend 3 to 400 patient every day.
Wow. And it's so inexpensive, homeopathy. So it's not, you can see a lot of patients and keep the cost low.
Actually, when I was start practice, that time homeopathy remedies it's not more expensive. Right now, these days is too much expensive here.
It
But
nowadays it's
when
more
we are,
expensive. Yeah.
yeah, nowadays, yeah. But we have a different method to prepare medicines on plasma, on liquid form. So
Okay.
most of the time, cost is low.
Okay. It's definitely lower than, let's say, um, a stay at, overnight at a hospital with all the medicines that they
Yes,
give.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, you are
Yeah.
right.
Yes. Okay. Wow. Amazing. So, sometimes people say, oh, it's just a sugar pill, it's a placebo effect. Is it true that they're only placebos, or do they actually have real frequency and energy and medicine behind the homeopathic sugar pill?
Yes, your question is great and important question because everyone asks about this.
Yeah.
Because when I was first time use homeopathy, I also asked this. So what is the action of these small pills, sugar pills? So the pills of homeopathy medicines are made from sugar, but they work only as vehicles. Actually, liquid medicines prepared from various natural medical substance is poured over the pills and dispensed as medicines. Homeopathy medicines are also available in liquid form or tinctures, mud tinctures, which can be administered directly or by dilating them in water whenever required.
Got it. Okay. Does the homeopath, such as yourself, give the same white pills for all illnesses in patients?
Okay, great question. So, what seems so is not true. The white pills, which are dispensed from a homeopath, are only natural vehicles or carries of actual medicine that is sprinkled on them. When the actual drug is poured on these white pills, they get coated with the curative power of the drug. Different drugs are usually pureed in various differing potencies as to best suit different patients. There are about 3,000 medicines and 10 variable potencies power of medicines of each medicine. So minimum 30,000 various promotions and combination are utilized.
Wow, that is a huge number. I don't even think I
Yes,
imagined how big that could be. That's pretty incredible.
yes,
How
you're right.
extensive it can be. Wow. So, with that being said, how long does someone have to take their homeopathic medicine for? Do they have to stay on it for a long period of time?
Usually not. The duration of the treatment depends upon the nature of the disease and the fighting capacity of the patient's body. The treatment is required for a certain time period so as to improve the resilience of the body to fight disease, taking into consideration all these factors. The treatment is continue for a certain time frame for the benefit of the patient, which the patient start improving. We stop the medicines and the natural immunity and control mechanism of the body will take care of the rest of the problems.
Wow. So what is the shortest and then the longest period of time you've seen someone be on homeopathy for healing?
It is the med that medicine acts slowly, it action too quick, and the effect later it's much longer, often forever. The disease is cured from the roots with most of the symptoms of medicine. Symptoms are merely pullulated or at homeopathy time suppressed, while in homeopathy they are cured for good time take for the cure is. to the chronically of the element. In fact, if a patient seeks homeopathic treatment at the onset of an ailment, he stands great chances of a really quick recovery. It is acute illness, homeopathy medicine act fast as effectively for if X it is suffering from bronchial asthma and he is suffering for the last 14 years and has been to various symptom of medicines system of medicines. Now, if you give him a homeopathy and say in 2 years' time the patient is completely all right, please tell us, please tell us which one is slower. So homeopathy is always work fast if we suggest, if we find right remedy according to the patient symptoms.
Correct. And you mentioned earlier in our conversation that for when you gave the example of someone having a migraine on one side or the other side or both sides or extends around, can you explain to us why do you take such a detailed history? Why does that matter?
So it's a good question. So detailed history is very essential as homeopathy believes in treating the individual and not the disease. So the physician need to know the individual and not his disease. Also, the chronic disease are due to suppression of skin affections or emotions. Hence, detailed histories will revival whatever and the past elements suppress has lead to the present complaints. Every incidents affect our lives, so it is very important to know all the incidents and its impact it had on the patients. Enhance and detail history right from the childhood till date is needed to find the right medicine which suits the patient. If you cooperative and give honest and detailed history, we can help you to achieve better and healthy life.
Got it. Okay, makes sense. And do homeopathic medicines have steroids? Are there any that function like a steroid?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It is a mechanism that has been developing in the recent time due is many cases after seeing the improvement in a very short time people think that homeopath gives steroids. All homeopathic medicines are prepared by using scientific method of extraction, the medical properties from source substance. There is no scope or need to the divide medicines by any other substance as would completely obliterated the curative properties of the same. The suggestion of homeopathy remedies is based on the similarly of the symptoms of the patient with those produced by the drugs in purent from when proved clinical trials in healthy individuals. So many additions to the original medicine would completely after its medicines properties are hence after it non-curative. Also, if steroid is added, the medicine will taste bitter. If the patient has any doubt, he should check the medicines from a standard laboratory from consuming any quality.
Got it. Okay. And is there a reason why some homeopaths do not tell the name of the medicines that have been given?
So this is also a common question to ask, but I write always the name of medicines. I tell everyone to name of remedies and my protocols names, doses, potencies.
That's wonderful that you're so
The-
clear with everyone. So,
So, so,
yeah,
uh, so one, I think the name of the medicines is not dissolved for the benefit of the patient. If the patient, after knowing the name of the medicine, starts taking it according to his or her whims and fancies, it is distort the disease picture, and in the future treatment of the patient will be such more difficult. Also, certain medicine have to be changed and given as per the state of the disease and recovery. If the patient want, a copy of case record can be provided to the patient, but at the end of the treatment, when patient has completely recovered.
wonderful. So sometimes there are some people who um, want to know the name of it, but then but then it sort of messes with them psychologically, and and take it into their own hands. Is that the concern?
Say again, please.
Sometimes I just wanted to recap what you just said. Sometimes you may want to withhold the information, the name of the medicines that were given in case a certain patient it might not be mentally adequate for them to receive that information as they'll take it into their own hands or start to
Ac-
think symptoms.
Actually, some patient just ask the name of medicines, and after they start to suggest another, suggest these remedies to others, and
Ah,
tell, and this is a harmful, you know very well, because I already tell in above. So different patient and different body have a different remedies. But
right.
for example, if my headache cure with belladonna, it's if my headache cure with belladonna, so patient always try to suggest everyone for belladonna, belladonna, belladonna. So it's not good. So it's
And then the
harmful.
other person takes the belladonna and it
So
doesn't
yeah,
work, and
takes
then
a
they say
belladonna. Yeah, takes a
homeopathy doesn't
belladonna.
work.
Yeah, does not work.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if we suggest high potency like 1 m, 10 m, 50 m, cm, so doctors know very well when we need to repeat a second dose. So if we tell the name of the remedies, for example, Naxavomica CM, so patient want to try and repeat early dose. So most of the time remedies is aggravation
Mm.
and also a very bad aggravation and side effects starting. So
That leads me.
always homeopathy always use with homeopath, always work with the homeopath. I think always avoid to self medication.
Got you. So that leads me to my last and final question, which is, are there any side effects to using homeopathy?
I think there is no side effect of the homeopathic medicines if we are select remedies according to the symptoms. Sometimes the symptoms may get aggravated for short period of time, but this is a good sign that the homeopathic medicine is right and has starting acting. Sometimes you may get cold, skin rash, or little discharge after taking homeopathic remedies. That means the patient's system is getting cleared. In the some way, your old symptoms like constipation, warts, or any skin rash may appear. Do not take any medicine to treat these repairing old symptoms, as these old symptoms will go away in short period of the time, and you are uh, cured completely and permanently. So I think there is no side effect if we are used remedy according to the symptoms, and if we use wrong remedies, so is there must are side effects.
Are there plans or protocols in place when there's on the rare case that an aggravation could happen?
In because in protocol always we are use low potencies, so there is a less chances for aggravation. If we are use high potency blindly like 1 m, 10 m, 50 m, cm, and at the same time we are repeated cm doses every day, 2 3 doses, so it must have a chance to aggravation.
Right. So always be on the safe side and start low when in doubt on a low in
Yes,
potency.
yes, I always try to do a safe practice, and I always try to cure my patient with low potencies.
Wonderful. That's
So
amazing.
yes, thank you. So my
Dr.
19, so my mostly patient cure with low potencies.
And that goes to show you how sometimes we think more is better, but not necessarily, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
you are right.
Yeah. Dr. Imran, this was so fascinating. Thank you so much for taking the time today to tell us about how you got started, your story on falling in love with homeopathy, your studies, Pakistan, the standard practices there. I loved learning about how you're required to do an internship in the hospital. I did not know that. That is such fun and piece of information I didn't know. I love learning that. And you are such an amazing homeopath, and you do such great things for the world, really, around you. You're so giving with your time and knowledge, and we really appreciate you. I look forward to having you on again and exploring more topics in deeper detail. And I look forward to the future. Thank you so much again for
Yes,
meeting with us today.
thank you very much for inviting me, and
Okay.
thank you very much.
Amazing, Dr. Imran. Until next time.
Yes, sure. Okay, dear. Thank you very much. God bless you.
You're welcome. God bless.
Thank you.